A soft chime sounded as the Marabou delegate activated their speaking crystal. The ambassador's request is reasonable, their light pattern indicated. If we cannot protect our members, we have failed our primary purpose. One by one, other delegates voiced their support. Even those who had been wary of humans now recognized the wisdom in strengthening protective measures. 3 standard months later, the Galactic Confederation had been transformed. A new rapid response force, with significant human participation, stood ready to protect member worlds. The Arxian Dominion, stripped of its military might, focused on civilian industries under close supervision. Admiral Zhang and Captain Rice stood on the observation deck of the newly commissioned Harmony Guardian, the flagship of the Confederation's defense fleet. "Do you think they understand us now?" Elena asked, watching alien crew members working alongside humans. "Some do," Zhang replied. "The rest will learn." In diplomatic circles across the galaxy, a new phrase entered common usage: "Don't provoke the humans." It wasn't spoken with hatred or fear, but with a newfound respect for a species that had hidden its strength until threatened, and then revealed itself to be not just powerful, but principled. As for Commander Krax, he found himself reassigned to diplomatic service on Earth, tasked with rebuilding relations between their species, a fitting punishment and education for one who had so gravely misjudged humanity. The lesson had been taught and learned. In a galaxy of ancient powers, even the newest arrivals might be more than they appear. And sometimes, the most dangerous species are those with the patience to wait. On Harmony Station, the Council convened an emergency session. "How is this possible?" demanded the Perlaxian delegate. Their technological development level was thoroughly assessed. High Chancellor Zorvan turned to the Confederation's intelligence chief. "Explain this discrepancy." The intelligence chief, a cybernetically enhanced being from a species that had evolved in deep space, displayed a series of analyses. "It appears the humans have been systematically concealing their true capabilities since first contact. What we observed were carefully curated demonstrations designed to make their technology appear less advanced than it actually is." "But why?" asked the Marabou delegate. "A defensive strategy," replied the intelligence chief. "Our historical records show multiple instances of advanced civilizations subjugating or restricting newer members they perceived as potential threats. Humans seem to have anticipated this possibility and prepared accordingly." In Arxian space, panic spread through the military command. Their border outposts were going silent one by one. Human vessels were performing maneuvers that defied Arxian tactical algorithms, using weapons technologies that penetrated their best shields. Supreme Hierarch Zex demanded explanations from his military advisors. "How are they defeating our forces? They are physically weaker than any warrior species." General Sarn, the Arxian chief strategist, appeared shaken. "I've been studying their history. Humans evolved as persistence hunters. They don't overpower prey. They pursue until exhaustion. Their entire civilization reflects this pattern. They don't quit, and they've been fighting each other for millennia, constantly improving." "Then we will make them quit," Zex declared, ordering their main fleet to converge on the human advance. What followed was a military campaign unlike anything the galaxy had witnessed in generations. Human forces avoided civilian targets, disabled rather than destroyed when possible, and evacuated non-combatants before neutralizing military installations. This wasn't primitive warfare. It was methodical, ethical, and utterly relentless. Most surprising to galactic observers was the humans' adaptability. When Arxian forces developed countermeasures to human tactics, the humans would immediately modify their approach. When Arxian engineers created new defensive systems, human scientists would find vulnerabilities within days. After the fifth Arxian colonial world raised surrender signals, Commander Krax was summoned before Supreme Hierarch Zex. "You assured me they were backward primitives," Zex hissed, his scales flushed with anger. "Now they control half our outer territories." "They concealed their true nature," Krax protested. "No species has ever. You failed to recognize a predator when facing one." Zex interrupted. And now the Dominion pays the price. When the Arxian homeworld's orbital defenses detected approaching human vessels, Supreme Hierarch Zex reluctantly activated the emergency communication channel. Admiral Zhang's face appeared on the screen. Admiral, Zex began, forcing diplomatic tones through his natural aggression. The Arxian Dominion proposes immediate cessation of hostilities and withdrawal from all human territories. We are prepared to discuss reparations. Zhang's expression remained neutral. Your surrender is accepted. Human forces will oversee your military disarmament. Non-military operations may continue unaffected. Disarmament, Zex protested. The Confederation has never required. The Confederation isn't handling this matter, Zhang interrupted. You made that choice when you attacked Europa. On Harmony Station, the Council watched in astonishment as the once mighty Arxian Dominion capitulated to human demands. When Earth's new ambassador, Dr. Sophia Okonkwo, entered the chamber days later, she was greeted with a mixture of respect and apprehension. High Chancellor Zorvin addressed her cautiously. Ambassador Okonkwo, the Council extends its deepest regrets for failing to prevent the tragedy at Europa. We hope Earth will consider rejoining the Confederation. Sophia studied the chamber, noting how the delegates watched her with new eyes. Earth is willing to return, Chancellor, she said, but under new terms. We require full member status, not provisional. And we expect the Confederation to honor its commitment to the sovereignty of all species. Of course, Zorvin agreed quickly. The Council has already prepared a resolution granting Earth immediate full membership status. There is one more condition, Sophia added. The Confederation must acknowledge its failure to protect a member species from aggression. We require reforms to ensure this never happens again. The chamber fell silent. Such a demand was unprecedented. Commander Krax dismissed these concerns with a flick of his scaled tail. We are simply ensuring the stability of this sector. Humans are an unknown variable with a documented history of violence. Our actions are prudent precautions. The breaking point came suddenly. The human colony on Europa, Jupiter's ice-covered moon, was a small scientific settlement housing just over 2,000 people. It maintained a minimal defensive system appropriate for protection against micrometeorites and cosmic radiation. When 3 Arxian warships appeared in orbit, the colonists followed established protocols. They activated shields and sent notification to Earth. No one expected the Arxians to open fire. The first bombardment shattered the colony's main dome. Emergency systems activated, sealing off sections, but the atmospheric loss was catastrophic. The second bombardment targeted the power generation facilities. In the darkness and freezing cold, colonists scrambled for emergency shelters as the Arxian ships continued their methodical destruction. When the attackers finally departed, they left behind a devastated colony. 217 humans dead, including 43 children who had been in the education dome when it decompressed. On Earth, President Okafor watched the footage in horrified silence with her Security Council. When it ended, she turned to General Hassan. Wake the giant. The human response. Commander Krax stood before the Confederation Council, his scales gleaming with confidence. The human colony was developing weapons in violation of their provisional status. We have recovered evidence that they were experimenting with antimatter containment, technology far beyond their approved development path. Ambassador Adayemi's voice cut through the chamber. That is a lie. He activated a holographic display showing the Europa research facility's complete records. The colony was researching efficient energy production methods for deep space habitation, research that was fully documented and approved by the Confederation Science Division. Murmurs spread through the chamber. High Chancellor Zorvin raised his hands for silence. These are serious allegations. The Council will need time to... Time. Adeyemi interrupted, his composure finally breaking. 217 of my people are dead. Children are dead. And you need time. Ambassador, Zorvin began, please understand the diplomatic complexities. No, Adeyemi's voice was quiet but carried throughout the chamber. "I don't think we will understand anymore." He unpinned his Confederation insignia and placed it on the podium. "Earth withdraws from these proceedings until justice is served. We will address this matter ourselves." As he turned to leave, Commander Krax's laughter followed him. "What do you imagine primitive humans can do against the might of the Arxian Dominion? Your species will learn its proper place in the galactic order, if any survive the lesson." Adeyemi paused at the doorway. "You mistake patience for weakness, Commander. That is a dangerous error." 12 hours later, the galactic community received a shock. Throughout human-controlled space, concealed facilities suddenly activated. Hidden shipyards on Earth's moon revealed massive vessels unlike anything humans had publicly acknowledged building. Asteroid bases that had appeared to be simple mining operations deployed defense systems generations beyond what Earth had disclosed. Admiral Zhang stood on the bridge of the UES Reckoning, Earth's first Titan-class warship. The vessel had been constructed in secret within the hollowed-out interior of Ceres. "All ships report ready, Admiral," announced his executive officer. Zhang nodded. "Open broadcast channels, all frequencies, all translation protocols." He straightened his uniform and faced the camera. The message would be heard not just by the Arxians, but by every species in the Galactic Confederation. "To the Arxian Dominion, you have committed unprovoked acts of war against humanity. You have 24 hours to withdraw from all human territories and prepare reparations for your acts of aggression. After that, we will consider ourselves at war." Across human space, ships emerged from hiding. Hundreds of them. Not the primitive vessels with chemical propulsion and basic energy shields the humans had shown the Confederation, but advanced warships with gravitic drives and weapons systems that rivaled those of established galactic powers. Commander Krax rose from his seat, his scales glittering under the chamber lights. "The Arxian Dominion has concerns about human development priorities. Our scans indicate military applications in your supposedly scientific installations. You have no right to scan our facilities at all," Adeyemi countered. "And your accusations are baseless." High Chancellor Zorvin raised his four-fingered hand for silence. "The Council acknowledges Earth's concerns. We will establish a committee to investigate these incidents. Until then, we urge both parties to exercise restraint." As the human delegation departed, Commander Krax approached Ambassador Adeyemi in the corridor. "Your species is young and fragile," he hissed, bearing rows of serrated teeth in what humans had learned was an Arxian smile. "You would be wise to accept guidance from those who have mastered the stars while your ancestors were still discovering fire." Adeyemi met the reptilian's gaze unflinchingly. "We appreciate the Confederation's wisdom, Commander, but humans have always charted their own course." "A dangerous approach," Krax replied. "Those who cannot bend often break." The confrontation on Harmony Station coincided with escalating Arxian activity. Their ships began appearing deeper in human territory, sometimes lingering near colonial outposts for days. Earth's defensive responses were measured, revealing only standard capabilities, exactly as planned. On Mars Colony, Governor Diana Patel watched the Arxian cruiser hanging in orbit above the main settlement dome. They'd been there for 3 days, she told Captain Alina Reyes, who had been dispatched to assess the situation. "Just watching. The colonists are getting nervous." "Psychological warfare," Alina replied. "They want us scared, off balance." A communication request from the Arxian vessel interrupted their conversation. The scaled face of a junior officer appeared on the screen. "Human authorities, we are detecting anomalous energy signatures from your settlement. Prepare for inspection teams to verify compliance with Confederation safety protocols." Governor Patel stepped forward. "Your vessel is in sovereign human space without authorization. We do not consent to any inspection. Please withdraw immediately." The Arxian's inner eyelids flickered, a sign of annoyance. Refusal will be noted as evidence of non-compliance. When the transmission ended, Alina activated her secure communication implant. "They're escalating. I think they're planning to force entry." "Understood," came the president's voice. "Maintain defensive posture only. Show nothing beyond standard colonial security capabilities." 24 hours later, 3 shuttlecraft departed the Arxian cruiser and descended toward the colony. Mars Defense Force deployed a minimal shield and warning shots, exactly what would be expected from a frontier colony. The Arxian shuttles easily penetrated these defenses and landed near the primary research facility. Armed Arxian troops disembarked, their scaled bodies encased in sleek combat armor. They breached the research facility's outer doors and began systematically downloading data from the computers while detaining the human scientists. What they found puzzled them. The facility contained only what it claimed: geological research, agricultural experiments, atmospheric conversion projects. Nothing military, nothing threatening. When they returned to their cruiser, the Arxian commander contacted his superiors. The humans appear exactly as primitive as their public profile suggests. Their defenses were negligible. On the other end of the transmission, Commander Krax narrowed his reptilian eyes. "Impossible. Our intelligence suggests they are hiding something. Search deeper. Find their secrets." The Arxians expanded their provocations. They disabled automated mining operations in the asteroid belt. They intercepted and boarded commercial vessels. They established a permanent monitoring post on Pluto without permission. Each action was met with diplomatic protests but limited military response. In private sessions at the Confederation Council, several species began expressing concerns about the Arxian behavior. "The principle of sovereignty applies to all members, even provisional ones," argued the Marabou delegate, a crystalline entity that communicated through light patterns. "The Arxians' actions violate our foundational charter. First contact and miscalculation. The day humanity joined the Galactic Confederation should have been a moment of celebration across the stars. Instead, it marked the beginning of a chain of events that would forever change how the galaxy viewed the bipedal primates from the third planet of an unremarkable yellow star." Captain Alina Reyes stood on the observation deck of the UES Pathfinder, Earth's first purpose-built diplomatic vessel. Before her stretched the magnificent construct known as Harmony Station, the seat of the Galactic Confederation. The massive structure rotated slowly against the backdrop of a nebula whose vibrant purples and blues seemed almost deliberately theatrical. "It's unlike anything we could have imagined," said Dr. Marcus Chen, the expedition's chief xenobiologist. "The architectural capabilities alone suggest technological advancement centuries beyond our own." Elena nodded. "And yet they invited us to join them. The question is why?" The answer came during their first formal meeting with the Confederation Council. 26 species were represented, each occupying seats arranged in concentric rings within the Grand Chamber. Humans, as newcomers, were positioned in the outermost ring alongside 3 other recently contacted species. High Chancellor Zorvin, a tall, willowy being whose translucent skin revealed complex circulatory patterns beneath, addressed them with what the translation matrix interpreted as warm formality. "The Confederation welcomes Earth as its newest provisional member. Your species has demonstrated remarkable progress despite your isolated development. We look forward to guiding your integration into galactic society." Most delegates offered gestures of welcome that the human team had been trained to recognize, all except for the Arxian delegation. The reptilian species sat rigidly in their seats, their scaled bodies adorned with what Elena recognized as military insignia. Their leader, Commander Krax, watched the humans with unblinking, vertical pupilled eyes. After the ceremony, Elena was approached by Neri, a member of the avian Perlaxian species who served as Harmony Station's diplomatic liaison. "Captain Rice, I must offer a word of caution," Neri chirped, her feathered crest rising slightly. "The Arxians have expressed concerns about human inclusion." "Concerns? On what grounds?" Elena asked. "They believe you are too aggressive for your technological level. Most species develop stronger pacifistic tendencies before achieving interstellar capabilities. Your history of conflict makes them uneasy. Elena managed a diplomatic smile. We've moved beyond our violent past. Perhaps, Neri tilted her head, but the Arctians rarely forget or forgive perceived threats to their dominance. The warning proved prophetic. Within 3 standard months of Earth's admission to the Confederation, Arctian vessels began appearing at the edges of human space. They claimed to be conducting standard security assessments, but their actions felt more like intimidation. In the Oval Office on Earth, President Amara Okafor reviewed the latest reports with her Security Council. That's the 7th violation of our territorial boundaries this month, Admiral Weizong stated. Their ships are scanning our outposts, probing our defenses, and retreating just before we can establish direct communication. And the Confederation's response? The President asked. Foreign Secretary Tomas Dominguez sighed. The same as always. They've classified the incidents as navigational misunderstandings and promised to facilitate dialogue. They're testing us, said General Fatima Hassan, head of Earth's Unified Defense Force. Classic predator behavior, looking for weakness. President Okafor studied the holographic display showing Arctian movement patterns. And what have they found? Only what we've allowed them to see, replied General Hassan. Operation Sleeping Giant remains completely covered. The President nodded. Let's hope we never need to wake it. Meanwhile, on Harmony Station, Ambassador Michael Adeyemi filed yet another formal complaint with the Confederation Council. This is the 12th documented incursion into sovereign human space, he stated firmly. The Arctian vessels disabled communications at our research outpost in the Kuiper Belt and demanded access to our databases. This goes beyond misunderstanding. It is deliberate provocation. Collective vessels detected, Lieutenant Kwan reported. 3 Scout-class ships in high orbit around Proxima. No sign of the main battle group yet. Reeves studied the tactical display. They're likely scouting for planetary defense installations. The colony was supposed to appear civilian on all scans. Commander, interrupted the communications officer, we're picking up distress signals from the colony. The collective scouts have begun atmospheric entry. They're demanding the colony surrender its contraband technologies. What contraband? Chen asked. According to the transmission, all quantum computing systems and neural interface technologies, the officer replied. They claim these are restricted under Collective Protocol 7. Reeves' jaw tightened, a protocol they never shared during negotiations. Convenient. She made her decision quickly. Signal the Indomitable and Thermopylet to maintain position at system edge. We'll handle the scouts. She turned to the tactical officer. Lieutenant Kwan, ready kinetic barriers and point defense systems, but keep the Lancet systems powered down. No need to show all our cards in the first hand. Aye, Commander. The Reckoning accelerated toward Proxima, its revolutionary propulsion system allowing it to reach combat velocity without revealing the energy signature of conventional drives. To the collective scouts, it would appear as little more than an asteroid on an unusual trajectory, until it was too late. They've spotted us, reported Kwan. Scout vessels breaking from orbit. Scanning us now. Let them look, Reeves said calmly. Helm, bring us into weapons range, but maintained evasive pattern delta. The bridge crew worked with practiced efficiency as the distance closed. The collective scouts, realizing the Reckoning was no natural object, formed a triangular attack formation, standard procedure according to the limited tactical data Earth had gathered. They're hailing us, said the communications officer. On screen. The view screen activated to show a Vexeri commander, one of the founding species of the collective. The alien's exoskeletal faceplates shifted in what intelligence analysts had identified as an expression of surprise. Human vessel, the Vexeri said, its translator converting complex harmonics into English. You have entered a security operation zone without authorization. Your presence constitutes a violation of collective space. Power down your systems and prepare for boarding. Reeves stood, facing the screen with practiced diplomatic neutrality. This is Commander Ileana Reeves of the United Earth Ship Reckoning. You are orbiting a sovereign human colony and making unauthorized demands of our citizens. It is you who are in violation of recognized boundaries. Withdraw immediately. The Vexaries' faceplates clicked rapidly, their equivalent of derisive laughter. Your species' arrogance exceeds your understanding. Your colony harbors restricted technologies that pose existential risks to regional stability. The collective has determined that humanity is not yet mature enough to target their propulsion systems. Reeves interrupted, nodding to Lieutenant Quan. Disable only. The Vexari commander continued, unaware that Reeves had muted the transmission. Significant developmental milestones before such technologies can be. Target locked, Quan confirmed. Fire. The Reckoning's conventional weapon systems, railguns accelerating projectiles to a significant fraction of light speed, dispatched precisely calculated rounds. Before the collective vessels could raise their defensive fields, the projectiles struck with pinpoint accuracy, crippling their maneuvering capabilities without causing catastrophic damage. Direct hits on all targets, Quan reported. Their propulsion systems are offline. Reeves reactivated the communication channel. The Vexari commander was barking orders in its native language, its composure shattered. As I was saying, Reeves continued calmly, withdraw immediately. Your vessels are disabled but intact. We will provide coordinates for an extraction point at the system's edge where your support vessels can retrieve you. The Vexari's faceplates flattened against its skull, a sign of shock or possibly fear. This action constitutes an act of war against the Nexus Collective. You cannot comprehend the forces you are provoking. What I comprehend, Reeves replied, is that you underestimated us, a common failing among those who confuse technological advantage with superiority. The Collective has made demands without respect, threatened without provocation, and assumed compliance without consent. These are not the actions of an advanced civilization, but of bullies who have forgotten that true strength requires wisdom.